Former acting U.S. Attorney General Matt Whitaker is here. Great to see you.
Good to be with you.
Thanks for being here. So the Wall Street Journal says the top 50 customers alone are owed $3.1 billion. That's just the top 50. There was as much as $16 billion in assets that was being held by this company, apparently. You think any of the customers will get their money back?
They're going to get fractions on the dollar. I mean, I've followed this case very closely. I think the interesting thing is one of the Bahamian government has a cold storage device that has $300 million on it. That's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. And that transfer, especially since it's extra jurisdictional from the Delaware courts. But, I think these people that we're in this exchange, we're trading, we're possibly speculating on movements of cryptocurrency. I mean, what'd they expect? I mean, I think this is one of those things where buyer beware. It seemed that if something's too good to be true, David, as you know, it probably is.
And we were talking before we came on about how people never learn. It's the same. It's the same idea of greed and avarice and perhaps envy. You want to get in before your neighbor does and all that stuff. You just gotta hold your horses until you're sure. So many people were jumping in on this bandwagon before they knew anything about the company. And what we know now is what a horribly arranged conglomerate of strange people who had no background in finance at all.
I think this, is always when you have a company like this, you can see the failures looking in the rearview mirror. But I think anybody that would have invested in this on the front end should have asked some very pointed questions about really just corporate governance and control. And anytime you're dealing with something that's offshore, obviously that heightens the concern.
And not to mention the fact that there were some regulators, including Gary Gensler. And again, we don't know the exact extent of his role. Maybe he was just advised by a friend, you got to talk to this guy because crypto's important or whatever. So, but the point is that there were people who should have known better, whose job it is to kind of oversee what's going on, that weren't doing their job. And my question, because you know D.C. very well, was he getting protection from the people that he was paying contributions to?
Well, and as horrible as this story is, it's very interesting because the media does not seem to be covering it like they have other financial catastrophes in the past. And I think one of the reasons is because, this gentleman was very cozy with not only the regulators, but the political leaders in Washington, D.C.
The second largest political contributor next, that's what I'm told by some people, next to Soros himself. So should there be an investigation? I mean, we got a Republican Congress coming in. If neither the media nor the Democrats are interested in investigating this, might it be the next Republican majority? Yeah,
but this is something that needs criminal investigation, and I worry, having spent several years at the Department of Justice, that there's very few people that actually understand cryptocurrency and these type of financial markets. And so, while the wire fraud statutes are usually pretty easy to charge and the fact patterns are pretty simple, I think in this case, to the point is he's not going to be extradited. He's not coming back until he's actually charged. In a case like this, with this amount of fraud and these massive dollar amounts, is going to take some time to untangle.
So, and you're saying leave it to the judge, leave it to the bankruptcy courts in order to unravel the mess.
I have a lot of confidence in the Delaware Federal Bankruptcy Court. I think they do a really good job with these types of cases. It's just, it's a mess.
I got to ask a final question about the border, which was of great interest to you when you were Attorney General. We now have the future leader, I think, of the House, Kevin McCarthy, is going down to the border. He says, tweeting out, he said, we're going to share our gratitude for brave Border Patrol personnel and send a message to Joe Biden that a Republican majority will use every tool at our disposal, from the power of the purse to the power of the subpoena, to secure our border. But reasonably, is it possible to expect a Republican majority in the House to be able to do anything at the border? Because so much of it depends on the Department of Homeland Security and other agents of the executive.
Right. And so much of it's going to have to be political pressure. I think ultimately you don't want to take resources away from Border Patrol. You want them to just be able to do their jobs, be released to actually turn people around at the southern border. And right now we have an asylum system that's broken. You know, we had it down. We've had it down from 3 years to a year and a half to have a hearing. It's now back up to 6 years on these asylum claims, which means there's nobody's getting a hearing anytime soon. And so we have all these fraudulent asylum claims together with people that are coming through unregulated. In addition to that, we see video every day, as you do, David, about people running, through the border.
And a lot of those end up as getaways. Nobody even gets their name.
Exactly.
You know what kills me? We got to run, but there's so many millions of people, and I have some in my own family. So many millions of people are doing things the legal way, who are just hanging on to for years and years and years just to get their green card legally and to get a path to citizenship the legal way, that way, and they're just being jumped right over. And now Senator Schumer is saying he's thinking about amnesty for 11 million.
Yeah, we are the most generous country in the world. We admit over 1 million people to permanent status. We need to just have the system work in the American interest and not have what we have right now, which is chaos on our southern border.
It's the breakdown of law and order. Writ large, that's, I think, the biggest problem in the United States right now. For all the economic concerns, the breakdown of law and order on our city streets, on the border, et cetera. Well, you tried to keep that in shape when you were Attorney General. Thank you for being here.
Maybe we'll get another chance.
Matt Whitaker, good to see you. I appreciate it.